Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makwidira. The time is 8:45 Central African Time. Very beautiful morning here in Johannesburg, and we're glad that you're joining us for the Wednesday edition of News and Views. We're going to be heading over to our second story now. It's taking us to the Wild Coast, one of South Africa's most breathtaking stretches of shoreline that could soon become the battleground between big oil and small communities. Shell, alongside Impact Africa, wants to blast the seabed with air guns for oil and gas exploration, and they've already spent over R1 billion preparing. But communities from the coast say, well, it's not going to happen in our backyard. Now, the Constitutional Court will have the final say on this. Should Shell be allowed to renew its exploration rights, even though the original approval process was found to be unlawful? And joining me now is someone who's been at the forefront of this battle and defending the ocean, the culture, and just the community around the shoreline. And that's Nonhle Mbuthuma, spokesperson for the Amadiba Crisis Committee. Nonhle, welcome to News and Views. Really appreciate you giving us the time this morning. And it's good to have you on the show.
Good morning to you and also to the listeners. Thank you for inviting.
No, the pleasure's all ours. I think we can kickstart the conversation with why was it so important for communities living along the Wild Coast to challenge this oil and gas exploration endeavor by Shell and Impact Africa? All right, we seem to have lost Nonhle there. We're going to try and get her on a different line. Otherwise, we'll just call her and we can have that very, very important conversation about what's currently happening in the West Coast. It's a very, very beautiful, part of South Africa for those that haven't visited it yet. So I think to an extent you can understand where we find ourselves currently. But I've been having this conversation with a few people lately, just looking at the current state of South Africa and where we find ourselves economically, having one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. Um, where does one kind of strike a balance between economic growth, job creation, and protecting our environment, or is it one or the other? Talk to us. What would you choose if you had to decide? Knowing and understanding the challenges that South Africa has with high levels of unemployment, poverty, being the order of the day for many communities across the country. But still, we need to preserve our environment. We need to preserve, what makes this country what it is, essentially. Nonhle, thank you so much for joining us. Really glad that you're back. My question before I lost you was why was it so important for the communities living around the Wild Coast to challenge this order by Shell and Africa Impact to explore gas and oil along the coastline?
Thank you so much. The reason why it's so important for us as coastal communities to keep fighting this battle is because the ocean for us is not just the ocean. The ocean is a mother to us because it feeds us. We dependent from the ocean, and also our cultural rights, our spiritual practice, it's there in the ocean. Now, if Shell uh, come and explore oil and gas, and they will destroy our livelihood. They will destroy also our connection with our ancestors. Now, that is a very bad for the livelihood of the communities. That is very bad for local economy because Eastern Cape, their economy is in the ocean. Now, if you destroy ocean, it means that many people are going to lose their jobs and lose their livelihood. Now, why we need to compromise our sustainable development just for a short term?
Mm, mm. How do you respond to those that say, this exploration of gas and oil in itself could also kind of fuel the economy of the Eastern Cape, could assist when it comes to creating more jobs? Should there be natural gas and oil found there? And currently people are unemployed. People are, in need of jobs, and there are high levels of poverty, and maybe this could be one of the ways to go about tackling that.
When you talk about jobs, uh, jobs is something that is always put in the front of development. But when it comes to oil and gas, there is no jobs for the people. Also, the Impact Africa, they stated very clear that there is less benefits for the locals. Instead, those that they will get jobs are those expertise. The few of them, the only local that they will benefit is just to be security, also the catering. But why we need to, at this stage, we have fishers that are dependent from the ocean, and we are feeding our household. Now, all of us that will be cut out from feeding our household just for few expertise that are coming from Europe that will work there. But the ecological crisis that will take place in the ocean, it will be irreversible, and our livelihood will be destroyed, which is many jobs that right now are being created. Also, tourism is linked to the ocean. Now, once the ocean is being destroyed, there's many lost jobs that will take place. Now, oil and gas is not going to create jobs, not even once.
Mm, I think that's very, very important to note. Just take us through the legal proceedings right now. Where are they? How far are you with the constitutional court date? And from you guys' side, how prepared are you to further challenge Shell and their exploration intentions?
Yeah, the Constitutional Court's hearing yesterday, it takes the whole day, where
Mm,
they were questioning both the Shell and the legal team that it represent communities. And those arguments, for me, I was happy to see how also to see Shell is trying to argue that they've spent billions for preparation for exploration. Now, it doesn't matter that for them that this exploration that they will do it, it will impact negatively to the livelihood. What is important is their money that invested, but that money that they invested there, it does not make any difference to us. It does not help us, but instead it's going to make us to lose our livelihood. It's going to lose our cultural rights. Now, that money is nothing than what we're going to lose. That is why today we are waiting that the court judgment, when they handed down the judgment, also they will think for the planet, that all of us that we need, because right now, as we talk about the climate change is affecting us right now as we speak. We are severe weather, we are extremely hot, it's a heat wave. Our food security is under threat through the climate change. But while we know, all of us, that the most culprit, it's oil and gas, which is fossil fuel, that is
mm,
more contributing to the climate change. Now, what we're saying also, our message is that because we know that they said that there are offset money that are going to be benefited to the communities, where they are talking about planting trees. Planting trees alone is not enough. We need stop also the fossil fuel, especially that South African government, that they know that climate change is killing us. We need to change the plan of the development. We cannot, if the weather is changed, also the plan of development must be changed.
No, most definitely not. We're going to leave it on that note. Really, really appreciate you giving us your time, and really appreciate the work that you guys are doing. You're really fighting the good fight when it comes to the protection of our environment, the protection of our coast communities. And as Africans, we thrive in nature. We have a deep spiritual connection to the ocean, to the coast. And kudos for you and everyone that's involved with the Amadiba Crisis Committee in making sure that those connections are not severed, and that beautiful part of South Africa is protected.
Thank you.
There you go, spokesperson of Amadiba Crisis Committee on the Wild Coast, Nonhle Mbuthuma, giving us some insight on this constitutional court battle that's currently ongoing between themselves and Shell, which has these ambitions of gas and oil exploration in the Wild Coast, and it's going to be interesting to see how that one pans out. But I think what was interesting for me also is how she answered that question of job creation and economic growth, and how you kind of you know protect one over the other, protecting our environments and job creation. And she answered really, really well that most of the time when you're told about jobs, for the communities, when such explorations come and they kind of disrupt and dismantle the whole ecosystem of a community that's very, very reliant on its environment, not just to live off it and to survive and eke out a living off it, but for the spiritual connection that they have to the lands. You always told about jobs, you always told about economic growth, but she said these are minuscule jobs. These are, people being security guards, people being cooks. It's not well paying jobs that people can sacrifice such an important natural gift for. What do you think? 01168000355. You can give us a call, or you can send us a WhatsApp on 061 Do you think we can balance job creation and economic growth with protecting our environment? Or is it one or the other? There simply can't be no balance. And you personally, what would you choose if you had to decide, knowing and understanding the challenges that the majority of South Africans are facing? Issues of high unemployment, issues of poverty, but issues of protecting the environment also, and the ever-changing climate that we currently face. It's a tricky one. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, News and Views continues.